It's Monday morning. For many, that's called the Monday morning blues. Getting back to the weekday routine. And it's not exciting for many as a result. Not only not exciting, you know, downright the Monday morning blues. They're just not into it. And sometimes we're not into it because, we had tranquility, we had calmness, and now we're pulled in so many directions. And to be pulled in all of those directions is not gishmak. It's not pleasurable. We like to have a calm life. I mean, sometimes we like the turbulence because of the action, but we don't want the anxiety that comes with it. We don't want the challenges that come with it or at least the darkness that comes with it. So how do you deal being pulled in all different directions? Many roles that we play. Some are main roles of life, and others are supporting roles. But all of them might be of value and importance. How can we balance it all? Well, yesterday's class might be able to help you with that. Go to TanyaRabbi.com and go to yesterday's Parsha class. Or you can go on YouTube, to Tanya Rabbi on YouTube. And you can get the big picture. What's your main role in life? Is the name. And enjoy. Okay. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. And we share today with Michael in Germany, Jan in Mexico, John is in North Carolina, TJ Terrence in Melbourne, Australia, Simcha, she is in Florida, while Louise is in Sydney, Australia. We have Leah in Florida also, Rabbi in Morocco, Annie in Colorado, Tim in Texas, Brett in Pennsylvania, Elise in West Virginia, June is also in Australia, Daphne is in South Carolina, Brett, Pennsylvania, I think we mentioned. I think we mentioned Leah in Florida. We've got Vilma, Michael, and Marcy. Oops. Joining us, who else is here with us today? Cindy in Florida, Diane is in Arizona, Gail is in Georgia. All right, Akoy is in Peru with us, Hamid in Montreal, Zar in Malaysia. Alice is in Baltimore joining us. Who else is here? Beautiful. We had also a remarkable TRC last night. What's your struggle? What's your character quality that needs work on? That takes a lot of courage to go there. Carmen is with us in Texas, Leva and Davida in New York, Dam in Indonesia, Sinar in Romania. That takes a lot of courage. Adam is with us. Glenice, I hope I pronounced that right. Okay, beautiful. Sandy in Michigan. Jersey in Florida. A list, no. That'll come to me. Jennifer in Minnesota. And Telebent in New York. Esther in Israel, Ashdod. Oh, very nice. Got Israel with us. Susanna in Miami. Okay, Gail. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Menno in Germany. Very nice. It says about King David that David made a name. In the book of Samuel. Simple meaning is, as Rashi explains, as that King David gave the Jewish people a good name by burying the dead of their enemies. The Zohar says, based on the verse that David made a name, the Zohar says that David executed justice and tzedakah with all of his people, and therefore he made the name, meaning the divine name. That's how the Zohar explains it. Reb Shimon, hearing this from his father, Reb Shimon himself. So Lazar is his son, right? Reb Shimon wept and said, so Zohar says, who makes the holy name every day? That person that gives charity to the poor. That's the Zohar. So, a couple of questions. How can you possibly make the holy name of God? God is God. It's like, we once had a bunch of some kids over, and for Shabbos, we broke bread, made a blessing on bread, and afterwards it said, for the term grace after meals, which this week's parsha said we have to bend, in Yiddish, it's to bless God, is to bench God. In Yiddish, bench means to bless. Kid says to me, you can't bench God, meaning in a hockey term, someone gets benched, they can't play the game, they got benched. So you can't do that. So here, how can you possibly make God's name? God's name is God's name. And then, even if you can make it, why is it through charity that you're doing that? So we're going to leave that for now, and we're going to go now into another discussion. Prefacing a discussion about the verse that says, Yudke Hashem Tzorei Lamim, that by the divine name of Yud and Nehei, the first two letters of the Tetragrammaton, it's also a name of God, Yudke as we pronounce it, God is the strength of the worlds. Strength, the word is Tzur, the rock. He is the rock, meaning the strength. And the sages upon that say that with the Yud and a Hey, that's how God created. With the Hey of God's name, he created this physical world. And with the letter Yud, he created the spiritual realm, specifically the world to come, Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. So, let's understand that. What does that mean? With the Yud and the Hey. So, what happens in the Garden of Eden? Souls are there without a body, of course. After our time in this world, after we've gone through whatever cleansing is necessary, in the Gan Eden, souls are there. They delight in the experience of the splendor of the Shekhinah, the divine presence of God, which means the pleasure of apprehending the divine, right? And some degree apprehension of that light, of vitality that's revealed there, revealed of the Ein Sof, of the infinite of God into the souls, in some form of understanding. Each person, or each soul rather, right, understanding and perceiving and thereby having the pleasure, the delight, each one according to their level and deeds, that what they did in this world, or after they pass away, what others do for them after they pass on, right? This is why the Zohar says the world to come, meaning Gan Eden, is referred to as Bina. Bina means understanding, because there it's permeated with the light of the sphere of Bina that enables souls to apprehend and understand godliness. Now, let's understand this further. Understanding flows from supernal Chokhmah. So we're talking divine understanding that the souls apprehend and delight in. It flows from supernal Chokhmah, right? It's the source of the apprehension, of the concept in Bina. Chokhmah, we've learned many times, is that flash of ingenuity, that flash of intuitive, the seminal seed that has the entire tree in it, so to speak. Right? The entirety is there in potential. When is it realized? When it flows into Bina, and then you get through the mental gestation, you develop and expand that inspiration of Chokhmah into something that is understood and comprehended. So it builds on it. Bina builds on that intuitive flash, right? So Chokhmah is kind of the primordial stage of intellect. It's before you can grasp anything. Before it becomes manifest, that understanding. It's the light that, oh, eureka, I got it. Oh, what you got was a light. You didn't have an understanding. You just kind of got the flash of ingenuity that has it all. And at that stage, you see it. You don't understand it yet because it's concealed there. It's obscure because all it is a dot. All it is a seed. All it is that flash of ingenuity. From that flash of ingenuity, now that's way it's in us, but we're explaining it now in spiritual terms above, right? Of divine Chokhmah, a minuscule measure of it flows into the faculty of Bina. That's why, by the way, even in ourselves, once we kind of get to understand it and develop it, Bina, we build its building blocks. You create a home from it. Right? Because you've now taken the length, the breadth, the depth of understanding of that idea, or of that primordial chokhmah that was originally in a state of obscurity and concealment. And that's why the Holy Zohar calls Gan Eden, refers it as Chachma is a dot in the palace. The palace is the building. The building is understanding. The building bricks of understanding and developing, right? A building has a length, it has a depth, it has a height to it, right? Just like the letter Hey has a breadth, a length, and then the little third leg is the depth. And what did it take from? It took from the dot of Chachma. So it's like the dot in the palace. So you've got this home, and you got the dot that's there in the middle. That dot is Chachma. From Chachma, right, it is housed in Bina. Because that seminal point still of intellect that transcends all the details ultimately is what constitutes the understanding and the comprehension that is in Bina. That's the idea. The Yud that's there. Chachma is also referred to as Eden. We're speaking about Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. Well, there's Eden itself. That what does it say about Eden? No eye has beheld it, because it's an illumination that transcends and defies comprehension. Chachma. Again, that's the kind of Chachma we're talking about above. So what we're saying here, and the important thing is that Chachma is the source of intelligence, right? It's the dot in the palace of the building bricks of understanding of Bina, right? Because the flash of ingenuity, the seed has it all there in obscurity, but it's there. So it transcends, and yet the source of understanding. Moreover, Chachma is referred to as the father who founded the daughter. In God's name. God's name, as we know, right? The four-letter name of God, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. So I don't have it here. Right? Yud is Chachma, that's father. Hey is Bina, that's mother. Vav is the son. The six emotions. And the final Hey is daughter. That's the nuclear family. Is daughter, Malchus. So Chachma is the father, or is the source of the letters of speech, which are called daughter, because Malchus is royalty. The king rules with his word. God rules and creates with his word, Malchus. So father is the source of the letters of speech. One might have expected that letters of speech derive from the emotive faculties, because what do you speak about? Well, that which you have a feeling about. Or from the intelligence, it would come not from Chachma, which transcends intelligence, the source of it, but transcendent of it, as we've explained, but you would think that it comes from Bina, that a person articulates letters of speech when you seek to express an idea or an emotion. So, says the Alter Rebbe, but that's not the case. Again, Chachma, right, is the source of the letters of speech, which means that the formation of the letters of speech They proceed from the 5 organs of articulation. It's not an intellectual process, which probably was thought of that way 100 years ago or so. And now we know that speech, when a child, I had one of our children barely spoke a word when they were almost 3 years old. Very few words. A parent would get worried. Maybe there's an issue of intelligence over here. That would be the case if Bina was the source of articulated speech. But it's not. Therefore, speech is not based on intelligence. It's based on kadmus seichel, of chachma that's beyond, transcendent, source of intelligence, but not intelligence in of its or understanding of itself. And hence, speech is developmental. That's what we know today. But that's what the Alter Rebbe will explain over here. Right? That the 5 organs of speech, which to pronounce letters, you have a mouth, you have teeth, you have a tongue, a palate, and the larynx. So you have for the letter pei, your lips, shin, your teeth, lamed, your tongue, and ches, your gut. Palate, I have to remind myself. In any case, those letters do not emanate from the soul as a result of an intellectual imperative. As we said, it's developmental, right? Further, it's not inherent in the nature of the organs to pronounce letters. By means of the breath and the sound that the breath strikes the 5 organs, and therefore it's the nature of the organs to pronounce the letter pei, right? So it's not the natural faculty or an intellectual faculty that does that. So with the lips, right, that utter pei, right, that's the lips are primarily involved with making the letter pei or mem or vav or base, right? So again, it's not its nature to the lips to make a pei, or it's an intellectually that compels the utterance of my lips to do that, right? Not consciously or subconsciously at all, right? But what is it then? It's not that I have to concentrate on myself. Let me say the letter pei now, and I have to engage my lips and the rest of my mouth in a certain way that I will pronounce the letter pei. Okay, so in other words, it's not that awareness, it's not that mental process that you need to go through. So then what is it? It's a desire of the soul. I wish to say the letter pei. So it's the soul that intends it, the will of the soul that intends it, and spontaneously it does. Once you're developed, right? If you're 1-year-old, haven't yet developed it. And as I said, one of our children, 3 years old, who happens to be extremely intelligent, but only developed late, right? We know that today. There was a question about that maybe, I don't know how many years ago. Linguistics, we understand much more today than before. Now, this idea is even more evident when it comes to pronunciation of vowels. For example, a kametz vowel, right? Kametz, the word kametz means to squeeze. So when you squeeze your mouth, you say an o. Kametz is with the line like a small, like a T, almost like a T, like a short T, right? So the lips kind of squeeze, which komets means to squeeze. Patach, which is just a straight line vowel under a letter, means to open. Oh, guess what? You open up your mouth. You don't squeeze your mouth to say patach aleph ah, komets aleph oh. By the way, that's in Ashkenazic pronunciation. There's a distinction. In Sephardic, there isn't. And how that fits in with this, I have no idea, because they use the same komets and patach, which means to squeeze and to open, but that's parenthetical. So the fact that I do that is why? Because I have to think that I want to say the vowel komets, and I have to now concentrate on squeezing my lips in order to do that? Obviously not, right? Obviously what it is that I have a will of my soul that I desire to say the letter, the vowel, and I do it, right? That's an understood, it's a pretty obvious thing, but here we just elaborate upon it that we can understand it more, that it's not intelligence-based, it is a development of the soul, the capacity that we can do that. And that's why we see that an infant cannot speak. Actually, perfect example of one of our sons that, 3, or barely, had words. And even though he understood everything, again, because speech is not a result of the revealed and apprehended intellect. It's a rarefied, hidden intellect called supernal chachma. And the infant has not yet developed it. So they understand, they have the intelligence to understand, but they don't have the capacity to speak and communicate because it wasn't developed yet, because it's based on chachma. And that's the idea that chachma fathers the daughter. Father fathers the daughter, which is Malchus, right? And that's today's teachings, which leads us in the middle of a thought, which we will come back to, because now we have an understanding of Chachma, the Yud, right, can be presented by a dot in writing. That is that transcendent form of intelligence, the source of intelligence at the same time. Intelligence meaning understanding, comprehension, source of comprehension. It is intelligence. It's still part of the 3 elements of intelligence. Chachma, Bina, V'das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, which is Chabad, by the way. So we just got a good lesson on linguistics 200 years ago, which probably then linguistics did not understand this in this manner. Where we're going with this is to appreciate God in creation. The spiritual realm, the letter Yud, Chochmah, and this world, the letter Hey. And what's the distinction about that? And how with that you can make God's name through being charitable. More to come. Any questions? Lou, welcome. Long time no see. Lou from Yardley, Pennsylvania. Welcome. Looking for any questions? Last night's DRC was I doubt that anyone knows the name of God in this world. Only his titles. No, the name of God is, one of the names is Yud-Ke-Vav-Ke, Yud and a He and a Vav and a He. So we know it. We don't pronounce it. Like the J witnesses, we don't pronounce because that's God's name. We say the Ad Hashem. So that means that I'm only one stopping myself from pronouncing the Hebrew words as they should be. I don't know what you mean by that, Cindy. Perhaps that's correct. Yes, we generally are the ones stopping ourselves. Tzedakah, the most powerful. Yeah, it seems to be quite powerful, being charitable. Absolutely. Thank you, Alice. John. Divine souls given the subliminal perception of divinity higher in tzaddikim than in beinunim, which helps us all accomplish mission in this world. Our divine souls given a subliminal perception. I don't know if they're given subliminal, not really. Why would you call it subliminal? They have a part of God, the divine soul. So it's the makeup of it. Subliminal is sort of like you see something subliminally. I mean, there is that perception of God, seeing God, but there's even greater than that the soul is a part of God. So, so all divine souls have that. The difference is, as we migrate down, the soul migrates down into a body, and as it comes down, it picks up some of the particles on the way that might not be so, that create a blockage. For ultimately us to unblock it down here. All right, folks, and that's it for the moment. Rambam is coming right up. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege, a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you for joining.